selling Stanford's success in his run for governor. Next. Welcome to the Stan Simpson Show, a program about Connecticut people and compelling issues. Make it a point, will you please, to drop in every week. Dan Malloy had an impressive 14-year run as mayor of Stamford, widely recognized as one of America's safest cities and dubbed the city that works. Stamford is a Connecticut success story, but Connecticut mayors have rarely done well in runs for governor. Malloy is once again trying to change that trend. We'll talk about his run. In our second segment, we'll talk to Hartford Courant sports writer Desmond Connor. He wrote a revealing story about the turbulent year of UConn football coach Randy Edsall, who endured the deaths of two people very close to him. Then we'll wrap things up by talking to Mark Robinson, a survivor from that horrific crash on Avon Mountain in 2005. He's written a book about that ordeal and the aftermath. But first, Stamford's longest-running mayor, Dan Malloy, good to see you.
Great to be here.
The city that works.
It's a good slogan, and it actually describes the city pretty well. I mean, here we are in a state of Connecticut that hasn't added any net jobs since 1989. We've added thousands of jobs in Stamford over the 14 years that I was mayor. In just the last year, we added 2,400 jobs at Royal Bank of Scotland that moved to Stamford. And in the last 3 months, we announced another 1,900 jobs moving to Stamford. So it's got a pretty good track record. Some of the stuff I'd like to do on a statewide basis.
But tell me, it's a great story, a compelling story. Stamford is a terrific example of what can happen in a Connecticut city. But why isn't it getting more traction? Why isn't Dan Malloy getting more traction?
Well, you know, we're a pretty divided state, and we're a very small state. I mean, we're the size of some of the counties in Texas, but somehow politicians and culture have divided us along, you know, what river, what body of water, what highway serves you. And what I want to do is unite the state so that we actually understand that cities can be successful. I mean, one of the things that people don't understand about Stamford is we educate more English language learners in our public educational system of 15,500 students, more than any other municipality in the state, including including all of the other cities, or that the makeup of our student body is much more like the makeup of the student bodies of some of the urban areas. And yet we found ways to have levels of success that I think we need to replicate across the state.
Now, jobs, right? Whoever wins for governor, I think it's fair to say, is going to be the person that people think can create jobs. You did it in Stamford. How do you create jobs?
You create an environment in which people want to move their jobs or keep their jobs or expand their companies.
How do you do that?
Well, first of all, how we did it was we lowered crime by 64%. So people actually felt safe in the city again.
Big issue, right? Crime.
It's a very big issue. And community policing and people on the streets and people knowing that you're going to solve crimes and make arrests is all part of that. So that's a big part of it. Infrastructure and investment, making sure that your schools are top flight, that your road systems, that your sewage systems are ready to handle the kinds of crowds that you want to bring to your city, and that your city is attractive. Building affordable housing, believe it or not, is a big part of building jobs. If we have the fastest aging workforce in America, in Connecticut, and part of that is because we haven't created jobs, but companies have to know that your city, your community, your area of the state, your state is going to attract the kinds of people that are going to be the replacement workers of the future. So having housing for them, having opportunities to attend community colleges and universities so that they can keep their talents fresh or garner new talents if they have to change employment is also a big part of it. Finally, the mayor in a city, the governor in the state, has to have a laser-like focus on job creation and job attraction.
Working together.
I went out of state to bring companies to Stamford. I went down to New York City, and New York City is a great place for us to bring jobs to Connecticut. It is
cheaper, right?
Well, it's cheaper. It's also been the historic pipeline, but for some reason we started shutting off that pipeline. I want to renew that process.
The front runner on the Democrat side, you're a Democrat, Ned Lamont. He's saying, listen, I'm the guy who also has created jobs, but also done it from the private sector. So you have a situation where you had the experience as a public employee running a government. Ned Lamont, the front runner with a bucket full of money, says he has experience as a business owner Which is the more compelling story?
Well, I've created thousands of jobs, and by the admission of his campaign manager, he's created less than 50. I've created an environment in a city with a population of 120,000 people in which people decided to move. In fact, our population increased by about 14,000 people while I was mayor. I've made the kinds of investments in urban educational systems necessary that they might turn themselves around and produce the kinds of student graduates that are going to work in the institutions that we want to attract to our state. So let me ask you, do you want Connecticut's government to be run like a business?
I've answered the question.
I mean, people are going around saying, I'm going to run government like a business. Well, what business incarcerates people? What business has to take care of people in a mental institution? What business has to educate people? I want to run Connecticut's government like a good government.
All right, let me ask you that. You mentioned education, the achievement gap. Connecticut has the widest achievement gap in America. What would you do to narrow and eliminate the achievement gap?
And in an urban center, it's closer in Stamford than anywhere else, in part because 8 years ago, I created a commission to study and make recommendations on closing the achievement gap. 10 years ago, we became invested in Stamford in universal pre-kindergarten learning experiences, seeking to guarantee every 4-year-old child at least 1 year of pre-kindergarten learning experience, regardless of their financial circumstances.
So the preparation gap, you narrowed the preparation to make sure they're prepared earlier. We have about 2 minutes left. Don't mean to cut you off, so let me keep going. Personal story. You have a couple of issues that I think are pretty interesting. One, a learning disability as a young child where it was very tough for you to go to school. And two, the issue with your son. Your son has been in some trouble has a drug issue, depression issue. Does that humanize you? Having these issues with dyslexia, having a problematic child, how do you deal with that as a public official? Well,
I don't know a family that hasn't been touched by mental illness or drug or alcohol addiction, and in many cases crime as well. So whatever it does, it is. And my wife and I and our sons have found a way to deal with it. And I don't normally go around talking about it, but listen, I'm running for governor. I understand that. My own personal story is I was born with severe physical and processing disorders. I couldn't tie a shoe or button a shirt until I was in 5th grade. I went off to college really pretty unprepared for the rigors of a college education. I had really only made progress in the educative process in high school. And yet I graduated magna cum laude from Boston College, went to law school. When I graduated from law school, I was the first person in 3 different states to take the essay portions of the bar exam orally: New York, Massachusetts, and Connecticut, who wasn't otherwise blind.
In about 30 seconds, how did you overcome that deficit? A lot of folks out there who are dealing with children with learning disabilities, how did you overcome it?
Great government. I mean, I'm going to be serious here. The social workers, the social workers, psychologists, media, the physical therapy. A lot of that was directed by great government. That's why I always say I want government to run like great government, good government.
Speaking of good government, you have a huge debt. If you're governor, there's an enormous debt, billions of dollars. 15 seconds. Where do you begin to cut?
Well, I think we cut waste. I think we examine all of our expenditures. I think we look to downsize where we can and save the kinds of money that we have to do. We do a lot of really silly things in this state, and we're going to publish a list of those. In a matter of days, we'll go up with our overall plan, and then in the coming weeks, we're going to take issues and then kind of highlight our approach to various issues. But bottom line is, everyone's got to be at the table. Everyone's got to be asked for their ideas. We do blame unions a lot. Every union I've talked to that represents state employees has ideas that they want to see fully vetted. If I'm governor, I'm going to vet those first. I can't ask you to make sacrifices if I don't examine your ideas on what other ways we could save money. So we're going to also do that.
I keep saying 15 seconds. This time it's really 15 seconds. 5 seconds. You were the nominee last year from the Democratic Party, lost in the primaries, John DeStefano. What do you do different this time in a hard 15 seconds?
I'm better now. I think I'm a better candidate. I think I've learned to get my message out. And you never had me on TV before. Now you
I did radio, right?
Well, that's right. So here we are. I mean, but I think things progress. And listen, I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser. I think I have a great message to get out. I'm going to try to get that out to people. I think people understand that I'm sincere about what I'm doing. I didn't start running for governor after the governor decided she wasn't going to do it.
They're running me down. The city that works, Dan Malloy, good to have you on. We'll see you again soon.
Great.
All right, he's the mayor of Stanford, former mayor of Stanford. When we return, UConn football beat writer Desmond Carter talks about the trying season of Coach Randy Edsall. He endured 2 deaths. The people very close to him don't go away. You are watching the Stan Simpson Show in full HD.